This is episode 10, guys. I didn't even think I was going to make it this far. Anyways, so this is where we left off at the end of episode 9. I didn't quite show us getting all this in here. But I took the shifter off because it sticks over literally like a foot. So this is as far as we got it down in there. It'll fit almost all the way in there, but if you can see right there, focus, there we go. There's these, I don't know, ears that bolt the cross member across the bottom to where the stock Z transmission bolted up to. And I have to cut those off. You can see I kind of started with my oxyacetylene torch there, but it was so awkward, and I'm going to try and find a better way to do it today. But once we get those cut off, there's 2 on each side. Once I get those cut off, then we can actually drop the engine down in there. I put the front cross member back in, and see how I can make some brackets off of the stock L26 mounting points to bolt up to the 2JZ. And then I'm going to have to think of how I'm going to mount the cross member for the CDO9. I'm thinking I'm going to go off of right there and maybe cut a section out of the frame and make a custom 3 or 4 bolt system on either side. But one way or another, we're going to make some weird custom super strong cross mount for a cross member for it. So let's get to cutting, and hopefully we don't burn ourselves too much, because these are old regulators and they don't like to work right. So let's play with some fire. And they're out. Actually went fairly simple. It was just tough because I was mainly fighting the goofy regulator that's on the acetylene tank. It works when it wants to, so it's a lot of popping and backfiring. But cut them out perfect. Now let's get the tranny in here and see what kind of bracketry we can think of or design. So let's get to it. Alright, now that we got both of those cut out, you can kind of see back up in there and back up in there. I just dropped the engine back down in there, and I think I'm probably going to just try and shuffle it in place as close as where I think it's going to be. Put the shifter back on to see if I have to modify it. The way that I measured it out, I believe the shifter will end up being like right here at the very back of that oval that's cut out for the original shifter. So we'll just have to see. And I sat in here with the seats, the stock seats and everything, and that shifter location was perfect for my height and where I plan to put my bucket seats. But I guess we're just gonna have to see. So let's start dropping it down and jacking it up, dropping it down and jacking it up, and try and get it level in there. I think I'm probably going to have to get a rear sump pan for it, just because I think it's going to hit the steering rack in the front, because it's a top mount steering rack right on top of this. You can see it drops down in there and in there. And I think this oil pan is just too big. So I'll be on the lookout for a rear sump or a relatively inexpensive dry sump kit, which I say that, but when was the last time you saw a dry sump kit that was cheap? So one way or another, we're gonna figure it out. So let's start doing the Hong Kong shuffle to get this thing in there. And just as I suspected from the get-go. I thought I could get around it for just a little bit, but it ain't gonna happen. I need a rear sump oil pan, obviously, because you can see that's where the steering go, and that's where the oil go, and that's a no-go. So, kind of dead in the water now. I mean, I've got body work I can do, but I'm gonna try and find a rear sump that'll move the oil pan. Basically, flip this around, and it'll be right there. So with that being there, I can drop the whole everything down. I mean, a good 3.5, 4 inches. Then bring the transmission back up and make sure everything's level. That's what I'm assuming everybody does for putting a 2JZ in a Datsun. But I figured I might be able to get some brackets and measurements done without it. So I guess I'm just gonna have to find one at either Pick and Pull or a 2JZ shop or eBay or wherever I can find one. So I'll keep my eyes out, and we'll be moving on to the next thing. But I mean, look at that. That looks so mean. So freaking mean. Anyways, on to the next thing.